Omondi Otieno.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us on KUTV Primetime News. And if you're just joining us, you're streaming live this broadcast on our social media platforms on Facebook, KUTV Kenya, on Twitter, KUTV_Kenya. It's also live on YouTube at KUTV Kenya Live. Shall on this discussion, if you're having any question that you might want to ask our guest, who is the running mate for the Roots Party of Kenya, of course, you shall be telling me in the comment section. I'll be able to read it out to her. Now, the race to occupy the house on the hill has seemingly shrouded the Kenyan political arena in uncertainty. The choice for the player of the second fiddle stirred the murky political waters, with other presidential aspirants still yet to announce their running mates. The Roots Party of Kenya, which has gained traction in Kenya, is already ahead of the rest, settling on Justina Wangui Wamae as the running mate for Professor George Wajackoyah. And today we have a sit down with Ms. Wamae on the plans for Kenya and strategies to clinch the top seat ahead of the August polls. So, Ms. Wamae, thank you so much for dedicating your time for this discussion.
Thank you, Mondi, for having me here.
Now, right into the discussion. Now, the battle to settle on a running mate has been a tough one. You know, it's not been easy, causing headaches here and there, of course, for other presidential candidates. And of course, we also saw what happened today. The task force for the Azimio on finding a running mate, of course, had some interviews today. So I'd really wish to know, how easy or tough was it for the Roots Party of Kenya to settle on you as the running mate?
Thank you for that question, Bwana Omondi. Well, I can say it wasn't very tough because Roots Party has distinguished itself as a party that does things differently. So they put out an advert and I sent in my application. We were 9 of us and there was a panel led by a retired judge, and they insisted, when they were calling us for the interview, they insisted that you go with your spouse because they wanted to know whether as a family they have allowed you to be part of politics.
Right.
So I went with my spouse, Mwana Alex, and we were interviewed by this committee. We went home and then we were told they'll get back to us. And so they called us and again asked us to go back to the office, and we were told that I had been picked for this position. So I can say it was an easy way because, like what corporates do when they're hiring, there's that hiring process. So Roots Party has really distinguished itself in terms of doing things the right way. Yes.
Right. Now, still on that, I think that the thing that I'd probably wish to know is that, you know, politics is about interests.
Yes.
So now, I'd just wish to know, what were your interests? Were you interested in the agenda and the manifesto of how Roots Party were doing their things? That's why you applied for, you know, this position, or rather, were you just applying because, you know, you're applying for some, you know, a position that comes as a form of a job or something?
In 2017, I ran for Mavoko MP on a Jubilee ticket, and I was given a serious character development. And then Jubilee, being a very big party, the youth, or let's say someone who doesn't have the financial muscle, is not given any listening ear. But when I looked at Roots and Professor's vision and his way of thinking, because I had seen him during the interviews, Professor came off as someone who is willing to groom the next generation of leaders. Then his vision was very clear on how, you know, many times you're told we're going to do, we promised, even in 2017, I was promising my voters, I will do this, I will do this. But nobody asked me the how question, how are you going to do it? Professor was very clear on how we are going to pay off our debts, how we are going to spur up the economy, and that was through legalization and regulation of marijuana. So this idea was new, it was fresh, and it was timely because most of the African countries talk about Zimbabwe, Malawi, Morocco, and Uganda are also doing it, though albeit it's an Israeli army project, they are also doing it. So the how to me really made sense. So I was driven, in fact I was very keen on following their procedures, and that is where when I found out they were advertising for this position. So his vision on a better Kenya and my vision of empowering the youth They just gelled. Yes.
So another thing that probably many Kenyans, because from how you are selected as the running mate, I think other presidential candidates will also want to get a glimpse of how things were done, so that Maendeleo is about, you see how things are done here, you copy that, but then you go and do some improvements on it. So on the factors that other presidential aspirants are weighing is probably are you from a certain region, the gender. So a lot of questions, a lot of factors that are are being used in finding the right running mate. So I'd really wish to know that what really gave you an upper hand against all the other candidates that you're having, that gave you an upper hand, that this panel settled on you as the running mate.
Bwana Omondi, let me tell you where the others are struggling. Everyone is coming and saying, I command 2 million votes, I command this number of votes. But you can be a very, very good mobilizer. But do you gel in with your president in taking Kenya to the next level, in taking Kenya to a trajectory level of competing globally? So where they're failing is because everyone is focusing on the numbers, on the tribe.
Yes.
But what Roots Party did, Roots Party was focusing on someone who will support the president in achieving his goals. And that is where they had identified the critical success factors. One, I am a youth. I understand the plight of the youth. I understand the challenges of the youth. Again, I'm a woman. And those two demographics or population, we say, are like they are the labor in the factors of production. This is Kenya. So men own land, men are the entrepreneurs, men have the capital, but women and the youth are laborers in all this, in driving the economy. So I am in the two demographics, and having the commitment and showing the commitment that I'm willing to gel with the president and driving this Kenya to another level, that is where I think I came off the best. Yes.
All right, that's so impressive. I think we should also laud you, of course, for meeting all the requirements, the protocol that was set there to have a running mate. All right, congratulations for that. Now, we understand that presidency, it's a national outfit that, unifies the country. So I'd wish to know that, even as we are, you're aspiring to be the next head of state and the running mate, of course, the deputy president, how have you positioned yourself, to gain the acceptance, the wide acceptance from Kenyans across all the parts of the country?
It goes back to, like, when you say gaining acceptance, it means the one who gets more votes is the one who has been accepted. But one thing we are trying to tell Kenyans, the problem of this approach, we have seen it over 50 years after independence. What have we achieved in having the big 5 tribes in government? Does it mean an Ogiek, assuming they are 30 in population, that they are few, right? An Ogiek who is brilliant, who is intelligent, who has the desire to serve this country, will never be in position or in position of power or influencing policy. So when we look at this thing, ours is a different approach. Yes, they are the tribes, but what comprises of a tribe? A family.
Yes.
And where we're hitting this thing hard, I'm telling parents, there's a father, there's a mother, or the single. All parents have one thing in common. They want the best for their children. That is why you see parents taking loans. Every time there's school opening, you see messages. All banks are telling you, chukua salo, for your fees. Everyone is marketing your their resources and your resources towards a good education for your child. But why are you educating your child? Because you have a vision for this child. In the next, after education, after university, they'll be employed, they'll be in business, they will be people of substantial character in society. But the unfortunate thing is, we have gone through schools, our parents have taken loan, we also have our own help. Are we employed? No. When they tell us you can take tenders, is the environment conducive? It is not, because you can even go to an LPU in a bank and they look at you and they won't fund you because government already does not pay. And banks are in the business of lending money. So the environment is not good for business and there's no employment. So where does this leave the youth? The youth are so helpless, they're depressed, they're demoralized. Someone who was very bright in school has nothing to do. So there's the ideal part, they start drinking. So what we are telling the parents, we don't care what tribe you come from, but you have one thing in common as a parent. You all have a vision for your children that is to be a very positive, a productive person in society. So focus on that vision, dear parents. I also know all is not lost. Some of my age mates, and I've been there before, when I was running for Wajackoyah'S, I used to live at home. I have age mates who live at home, and we are saying, parents, it's not lost. Listen to us, listen to our idea, because you are about to drive Kenya in the right direction.
Right.
Yes.
So with the idea, because if Kenyans really can shelve the idea of voting based on the tribal lines. Now, do you think the idea that the Roots Party of Kenya is selling, it will well resonate with the way it resonates with the citizens in Nairobi? Will it in the same way resonate with Kenyans in the northeastern part of Kenya, Kenyans in the western part of Kenya, of course Kenyans probably in the coastal regions of Kenya? Do you think this idea well resonates with Kenyans across all the board?
This idea resonates with all Kenyans because we're in Kenyatta University now.
Yes.
And Kenyatta University picks students from the whole country. I saw an article last week, someone they were saying he was a first class honors, but now he's doing menial jobs to fend for his family. And that guy was a first class honor. This thing of unemployment cuts across board, from the north to the south, from the east to the west. Yes. So when we tell Kenyans this is our idea, let's go back to primary school. There is this question in GHC, they used to ask us, what are the cash crops in Kenya? Very fast we'd say coffee and tea. And then we do it for export. And then we are told there's money in the pockets of the farmers. But now look at the situation now. Tea and coffee is doing bad. The government has tried to revive it. Every government that comes in puts in money. But somehow the cartels, the authorities like KTDA, they come in. And I always give this the example of my parents-in-law. They are in Moranga and they farm tea. Actually, this time they have left their tea bushes. They've really grown now. They're very tall trees. And they told me, when we do so much work, the tea is carried and is taken wherever, whether it's sold in Italy, we don't care. Then you get a bill that to pick the tea from my gate, this was the cost of freight, cost of, So by the time you're getting your sleep, you even owe KTDA. You're the one who owes KTDA. Yes, yet they sold your tea or your coffee. So this is our idea. We legalize marijuana for export, for religious and medicinal purposes. In this way, anyone can grow their produce wherever they want. But you're going to have local buying centers. And when I say local, it's just a walking distance. Whether it's you Punda, you won't have the cost of transportation will not be there. Or better still, the authorities that are in charge of selling this marijuana come to your gate. They buy the stuff cash, they give you your money, you go, you continue fending. Because like when you pay a tea farmer after 1 year, this farmer needs to pay school fees, needs to buy bread, tea, and these are things you pay daily. Where is the farmer getting money? So as we want to put money in the pockets of the Kenyans. And there's also this challenge I'm facing, and I understand. Actually, even my parents are telling me, do you know, we're in a very hard place, because explaining to our friends why you're doing this. And I did a lot of research on this. Marijuana has 2 components. There is the THC.
But maybe before we get into that, because we shall be getting to that very soon.
Yes.
Now, you've just mentioned a very interesting part of putting money in the pockets of Kenyans.
Yes.
And this is one thing that we also heard about it when the OKA, the One Kenya Alliance, was breaking with other principals joining the Azimio and others joining, of course, UDA to come up with the Kenya Kwanza. They also had this agenda of, pesa mfukoni, pesa to be in the pockets of the common mwananchi. So even before this race to, people finding their running mates on this presidential quest, Professor came here. Of course, we know much about Professor. Now, we know the agenda that he had even before he probably, looked out for a deputy. So I'd wish to know, because when the OKA was joining other parties, they came. There are things that they were bringing, of course, which changed the manifesto and how the party was supposed to carry out its things. So I want to know, when you came in, what are the changes probably that you recommended to Professor, that now you are proposing this, but I'm also proposing this as your running mate? I'd wish we go this way. Or did you just come in and you work with what the presidential candidate had said?
I can say the Professor is open-minded. So when I came in, I recommended that we should add something in the Medicare option of it. Remember, Professor had said there's going to be free Medicare for pregnant women, children, and the vulnerable. For me, I looked at the aspect of nutrition. We always go to hospital because of bad nutrition. For example, like now, what is being sold in the supermarket as vegetable oil is seed oil. And when you look at the aspects of the effects it has on our body, seed oil doesn't have any value. Again, we look at something like, and then they were recommending, now that the cost of oil, cooking oil, has gone up, you are being told, why can't you buy lard? Why can't you buy lard? Ile unachoma ya mbuzi ama, that is good for your health. Then there is this thing that they tell us, no, cholesterol is not good for your health, but cholesterol is good because it builds muscles. Another aspect of this was, for example, linking to the marijuana and nutrition. Cancer cases are very high in this country. And what causes cancer? Sugars and sucrose and the fructose that are artificial. So a cancer patient, despite being given marijuana, they also advised to sit outside and enjoy some sunlight. Also, don't if you take fish, that the omega-3, but not one that is deep fried, in seed oils, because again, it's still carcinogenic. So I came in with the aspect and told Professor, in as much as you are giving free Medicare, can we look at the nutrition and health part of our people? Because the less people we have in hospitals, the less you're going to spend on Medicare. It's about telling our people, let's eat right. Forget about the breads, the pizzas, the sodas. They have no value. Let's go back to the traditional, the organic food part of it. So that is what I proposed, nutrition and good health. Yes.
All right. That's really, that's really impressive. There are things that, even as people, the politicians are campaigning, the nitty-gritties of, the life skills. You're talking about the diseases, of course, the rise of cancer and how it should be prevented. Many people are not touching on this, but of course, and see you are challenging Kenyans, they might weigh. Of course, I know they will. The Kenyans will make the right decision. Right. Now, so moving on, for the majority of citizens aware of the Roots Party of Kenya, the one question that is raised from the older generations, the parents, and mostly women, the parents, mostly women, is the question of legalization of marijuana and the ripple effects that will probably be felt when, marijuana is made legal in the country. So, as a woman and as a parent, what do you make of this? Probably because parents and guardians are saying that when this thing is made legal, the youth and the young generation will be deeply engrossed in the usage of this drug, and a lot of things will probably change. The ripple effects won't be as easy as probably someone would think of. So you as a parent and as a woman, I want to see how do you weigh everything on this?
Let me say, speaking as a parent and as a woman, and I'm going to say this with a lot of humility, and please Kenyans forgive me, but we need to be very honest. What does a parent do when you catch your child smoking, drinking, with condoms, with birth control pills, and they're not of age? What do you do as a parent? These four things that I've touched are legal, and are being sold over the counter. Look at cigarettes. They tell you cigarette smoking is harmful to your health, and they draw a very burnt up lung behind there. Then when you drink alcohol, you're told excessive consumption of alcohol, whatever, don't drink and drive. So when people are purchasing these things, already they have been warned. They're told, you drink, but it's not good. What do you as a parent do about it? All this aspect goes back to parenting. we are telling you weed or marijuana is not as dangerous, it's not as carcinogenic as all the others. So you as a parent, what do you do when you catch your child with those 4 things that are legal but you know they are not right?
Yes.
So it's the same way you're going to control your child, the same way you tell your children and you talk to them and you tell them, don't smoke, don't drink, because and because. Here is where you tell them, yes, weed has been legalized, but don't do it. It's for purposes of exploitation. And let me tell you, Bwana Omondi, as it is now, if you want to go smoke, you will buy it. In the next 2 minutes, you can access it. So despite the fact that it's illegal, it is readily accessible. Can we agree on that fact as parents? And we are not here to say that, no, let Kenyans smoke. What kind of a presidents would we be running, or what kind of a country would we be running if we let everyone become a junkie? And let me give you this very short story on where I'm really getting my information. There's this wrestling guy. He was a wrestler in the 70s and 80s. He was called Jesse Ventura.
Yes.
Jesse Ventura is the former governor of Minnesota. So he tells us a story that after 41 years of marriage, his wife started experiencing epilepsy. Would he have run away from her? No, they tried the contemporary medicine, or what is known. It didn't work out. Her epilepsy was just going on. So he took her to Southern Carolina, where medicinal marijuana was legal. And she was given a prescription. And imagine the epilepsy stopped and they went back to their life. So Jesse says, just because it's illegal doesn't mean it's not there. We are only giving room for criminals to run this enterprise. We saw, like yesterday, someone was arrested and we are being told the minimum in his books of account he's made is 12 million.
Yes.
Remember that story? That means already the supply is there. But where is the supply there? Because there is demand. So instead of controlling the supply aspect of it, let's control the demand and say what we demand this marijuana for is for export. It's for medicinal value. It is for religious value. Already, Kenyans, we are trying to be creative. We are trying to be different. We are trying to look at the competitive edge. Again, another question we used to encounter when you were in school was, what are the minerals in Uganda and Tanzania? Those countries have more minerals than we have. And in fact, let me digress a bit. When there was a fuel shortage, I would hear Kenyans saying, but we have fuel in Turkana. Where does it go?
Gamia.
There is so much mystery in our commodities, dear Kenyans. So the other 2 countries are leaving us behind because they manage the minerals. But what do we have? What have we been blessed in this country? Arable land. Northeastern is dry. I'm seeing the people are fundraising for the drought-stricken guys in Northeastern. That dry land is land that can even grow there, the weed, the marijuana, and also have other schemes for growing of organic food. We can have, it's an easy way of looking at how we grow our food and how we grow our crops for export. We tried kulalu galana. Did it work out? It didn't work out. Maize, nasikia bei ugali inaenda kupanda. You're told that farmers are growing maize. So dear Kenyans and parents, I know this is a new thing. Let's accept it. Because like I said, the vision of a parent when they're taking out loans to educate their children is for the children to be better people, children who are independent of the parents. But as it is now, when you're fighting this thing, things are not going to be easy. Very quick before I finish.
Yes.
Today I had in the news a CS for education.
Professor
Magoha said that the uptake of Form 1s was very low this time. What is the reason? Because people don't have money to take their children to Form 1. And the funny thing, when I was announced, if you see the SMSs, the WhatsApps I'm receiving, please come to my fundraising, nipati harambe, give me bursary. Kenyans, do you want us to continue on that path of bursaries, handouts? Let's be independent of the debts, the handouts. Let's have our own money. Let's have our own money as a country.
All right.
Yes.
Right. Kenyans are listening, of course, and the effects of them listening shall be felt on the 9th of August when they make a decision. Now, in a nutshell, in the political arena, we've seen, parties coming up together, forming coalitions, political camps here and there, of course, to probably gain an edge or amass more numbers behind them in the August polls. And wish to know now, why did Professor Wajackoyah and the Roots Party, why have you not considered probably, you know, teaming up with other camps to gain an edge, probably like other parties have done?
That's a very good question. And it goes back to what I said before. Other parties are looking for numbers, the tyranny of numbers and majoritarianism. For us, we are focusing on the goal of the individual Kenyan as a parent. We are telling you that we want you to buy into our idea. And if we had merged with other people, our vision would have been lost. Remember, in these coalitions and political parties, there are the big dogs and the small dogs. And where would we have tried to influence our vision to them? The big dogs have the ideas. So we decided, let us go it alone and speak to an individual Kenyans and tell them, this is what we have for you. Again, our ideas are very different, Omondi. No one has come up with ideas like ours. Others are telling us, wheelbarrow, bottom up, 6,000. But are they telling us the how? And when I say the how, where do I get this idea from? When Margaret Thatcher was Prime Minister, she used to be, the liberals really used to attack her and tell her, you've not done this, you've not done this. Then she used to ask them, how do you want me to do it? How? If you look at many of her speeches, so the how of it, yes, I will come and tell you, this is the idea. But how are you going to implement it? So us being different, we're explaining to Kenyans, this is how we are going to do it, sets us apart. I don't think anyone would have been comfortable in either coalition.
All right.
Yes.
So in that now, probably we need to wind up this. My director is telling me you're running out of time. What message would you wish to pass to Kenyans as we wind up?
Dear Kenyans, I always say this, that madness is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. When I was running for Mavoko, people are telling me, go to Gatundu. Then now that I'm here, they're the same ones who are telling me, please send us money for Harambe, we are hungry. What it means, nothing changed over the 5 years. Can you try something different? Can you look at a leader who is aiming at transforming this country? Can you just give him a chance, give us a chance to see where we are going to take this direction? And I can also tell the youth, most of you are in campus, are after post-campus, you're at home. This is the time to make your vote count. Go out there on the 9th, vote for us. Deliberately vote for Roots Party because our idea is fresh and we have your interests at heart. Thank you.
All right. So thank you so much, Ms. Wamae, for that insight. And of course, as things, taking shape here and there ahead of the August polls, we shall be also having presidential debates. We shall be also inviting you for such debates. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mondi. Thank you.
Right. And with that, we're taking a very short break. We still have much for you, so stay with us. See you on the other side.